This is our Newfane Select Board meeting, our regular meeting. Today is September 21st, and it is 6 p.m. And the host for this evening for our Zoom meeting is BCTV, and the producer is Lance. And I must say that we are very appreciative that BCTV is helping us tonight. Unfortunately, last week we were on our own and we had some difficulties with feedback and technical problems because none of us are experts, we're just learning. But thank you so much to BCTV for being here tonight. So I'm beginning, we have Angela Litchfield Sandburn, Christopher Williams, Mike Fitzpatrick, Shelley Huber, and myself as select board members, and Jay Wilson, the road foreman. Okay, are there any additions or amendments to tonight's agenda? Okay, we are moving forward to the second item, which is the approval of our minutes of September 8th. And is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? Anybody making a second to approve? Shelley? Okay. Any discussion on those minutes? All those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
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 Aye. Chris? Aye. Mike?
Can't hear him.
We can't hear you, Mike. Okay.
Unmute.
I think it would be prudent at this time if select board members were on unmute so we can get through this part of the business.
Okay, thank you. Well, everybody did say aye, so the ayes have it and the minutes pass. Our next item is road business, and that is road foreman Jay Wilson and road commissioner Christopher Williams. Jay, would you like to begin with your report, please? Can you hear, Jay?
No.
No. Okay. Lance, can you unmute?
There, how's that?
Oh, yes. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Daniel's Construction got into more pour concrete on the underside of the deck where the trough would be mounted than the state expected on Monroe Bridge. I've been in touch with Mark Pickering from VTrans and the VTrans bridge person, Sven. I don't know Sven's last name, but and the recommendation from both is to do the extra work now while they're working on site. And I attached some pictures in the estimate for the additional work. We had some extra money in bridges to do the work on the steel beams. Part of, we had half of what we needed. So there is some money there to do it. It just is going to delay the work on the beams a little longer so we can accumulate more money to do it. So they estimate it will take 6 weeks to do this repair. And they'll have one lane open while they're doing it. With traffic lights. The estimate is $150,000. So I didn't know if you'd had a chance to read through it, but it's, if you looked at the pictures, that trough is any water that goes through the expansion joint gets collected by that instead of running on the underside of the bridge. And right now they can't put the trough back in because there's no concrete to attach it to.
It looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
And we have enough money to cover this?
Yep.
I make a motion.
I second that motion.
Any discussion?
I do.
Yes?
So what's the difference between the 150 and the 95,000?
95, he'd have to close the bridge entirely for a month.
So is
And
that what you're going to do? No.
we can't. There's no way of closing that bridge. There's no good way to get around.
Okay, gotcha.
So we have to do it to keep traffic open, at least one lane.
Okay. So it's the 150.
Yep, unfortunately.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of passing the motion, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The motion passes. And it's going to be $150,000 bit of work, and it should be completed in 60 days. Is that correct, Jay?
6 weeks.
I mean, 6 weeks. I'm sorry.
Yep.
6 weeks. Thank you for the correction.
So I have the grants and aid letter of intent for you to sign. This will enable us to continue to get money for the Clean Water Act. The Depot Road culvert is still waiting for the easements to be signed and returned. And there's a road safety audit being done tomorrow, September 22nd at 1 p.m. for the Newfane Village, which will include Route 30 and West Street. We'll start at the town office, meeting outside, and then walk up to the village. We need to put winter sand out to bid, and I've attached a copy of the bid for you guys to look at. The sand salt shed has nothing new to report. And VTrans is going to put their own speed cart on Route 30 in Newfane Village. And it'll spend a couple weeks in town. There's no cost for us to use that. And the last question was, are you interested in getting the trucks undercoated again this year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Jay, I just want to confirm the letter of intent to
Yeah.
participate in the Municipal Roads Grant and Aid Program
Yep.
needs to be signed tonight.
Yep.
Okay, so Christopher, Mike, and myself are in town hall, so we can sign it and you'll have the quorum.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. And then the invitation to bid on winter sand. The winter bids will be received on October 5th, our next select board meeting. By October 5th, right?
That's
Okay. Any other questions?
Shelley had a question, I think.
Yes.
Yes, Shelley.
The grants and aid letter is for Clean Water Act.
It's for the ditching and erosion control.
Okay. And how much is that for?
This year, it looks like we should get 21,000, I believe.
Okay. And then what Marion was talking about was another grant and aid for something?
It's just, we have to sign the form that we're going to ask for that grant money. That's all.
Okay. And I didn't get a copy of the winter sand bid, but I can get that from.
It was attached to my email. I don't know if there was a bunch of attachments with those pictures. It should be hooked to that somewhere.
Yeah, I just got the pictures, that's all, in the,
Okay.
It's what I will send out to bid. I have to advertise it. I didn't put it in the packet.
okay. So it's not in the packet.
No, but it's here at town office. I'll put one in your box.
Okay.
Okay, and do we all agree about getting the trucks undercoated again this year?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
I have one other question.
Yes, Shelley.
The speed cart that's going to be offered by the VTrans,
Yep.
they'll take that information and use it to benefit us with state money?
It's for that speed, the speed audit we're having. They're trying to slow people down through the village.
Yeah,
I was supposed to look into seeing if we could rent the sheriff's cart.
yeah.
And offered theirs for free for a couple weeks, so I figured that was the best.
Oh, okay. So it's the same, it's for the same purpose, nothing different then?
Yep.
Okay.
Jay, I have a question because some residents on Cross Street came to me this weekend and asked if Cross Street is going to be part of checking speed because they say that so many cars speed heavily on that very short street because they think nobody's watching.
I think they'll probably look at all those streets when they're doing the village.
Okay,
See, I didn't talk with them directly, so I don't know quite what Chris Campy had discussed with them, but I assume they'll do all of them.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Is there a motion to accept Jay Wilson's report?
I'll
Please.
second that motion.
Okay, a second, please.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the report, please say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and your report is accepted. I'd just like to know if Chris Williams needs to add anything as
No,
the commissioner?
no.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jay, for all the work you do. And Christopher also. Okay. The next item is the administrative assistant report. Is somebody saying something? And I'm not here. Winetta?
Okay. Appropriation appointments starting in mid-October to meet with the select board are being scheduled. Would the board like this to be a standard consideration for anyone that requests funds for appropriation? Present their requests in person with a description of services and the number of residents served in Newfane and the villages of South Newfane, Brookside, and Williamsville. And enclosed is the cost of a large screen TV monitor for continued Zoom meetings. This will allow us to meet in person and then have a screen for other people to view the select board meeting.
I did not receive a copy of that estimate.
For a 70-inch Samsung with a digital software USB, the TV monitor is $849. The wall bracket and the tilting bracket, the total cost with a $32 cam comes to $946.98.
On top of the 849 or included with?
Included with.
Okay.
And Winetta, I see on my copy, it says $913.95 is the total.
I didn't include the $32 for the cam.
Okay. Well, what we have to do.
Wait a minute, Mary.
Gotta unmute, Marion.
Yeah, okay, now can you hear me? Thank you.
Yeah.
What we have to do before we can make a commitment to order that screen is that we all need to look at the budget that we have for expenses for the town hall. And that actually is something that we have to discuss tonight, because as of October, we're going to have alternate Mondays at 6 o'clock for a budget meeting. So my proposal is that at our first budget meeting, we can discuss this. And in the meantime, we can research and find out what has been spent already this year to make sure that we do have the money available. It's a great idea, but we have to know if we can pay for it.
I agree with that.
Okay. Shelley?
Yeah, that sounds good, because some of the questions I had would be, is it compatible to hooking up and making it work, with Zoom and all that?
Right. Right. So I would like to propose that we wait until our first budget meeting, and we can talk about it then. And in the meantime, we'll go over the budget in terms of what has the expenses that have been made already this year, fiscal year.
Do we have to make a motion to?
No.
No. Okay.
But
I think if we just agree to table it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We do need to have a motion to accept the administrative assistance report.
I'll make a motion to accept her report.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion about Winetta's report?
Well, I was almost thinking, I mean, why can't we, can you hear me?
Yes.
Maybe by our next meeting, we'd have an idea of what there is in the budget for this year. I mean, I'd like to see this thing go through a lot quicker than wait until next fiscal year to put this through a budget.
No. We're going to, our next select board meeting, Mike, our regular select board meeting is on October 5th.
Right.
And then starting in October, we're going to have to come in every alternate Monday to do budget meetings,
Yeah.
basically for the rest of the year. So I was saying that we could do our research right now and see what we have already spent to make sure there is money in the budget. And then we can report that at our first budget meeting. If you want it done earlier, maybe we can find out by next select board meeting.
Maybe Juanetta could contact Melissa and find out what's left in the budget
Right.
for our next meeting, so we can have a further discussion at that time.
Juanetta, can you do that?
Looking right now.
Because I mean, I thought in our building budget last year was still 100 grand better.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure we would take it away, where we take it out of the budget.
Well, we haven't taken anything for the building part of it, I don't think yet, have we?
I don't
I
think
would like
so.
to see this thing done, 'cause, I mean, it's something we've talked about for almost a year now. And I mean, now here we are using the computers.
Right.
It'd be nice to have it. Like I said, even when this stuff is over, if somebody from the state, Mark, like Jay's got somebody from the road, from the state wants to pipe in that night while we're at one of our meetings. We can
Yeah.
see this, I would like to get it going as soon as possible. I mean,
Okay, well, I just said we just want to make sure we have the money for it.
yeah.
So maybe by the next meeting, we should have an idea of where we are,
Okay,
and that's 2 weeks, so.
okay, all right. Okay, so
Shelley has a question.
So
Yeah.
to back up on number 1, regarding the standard of inviting the special appropriations, nonprofit organizations in,
Yeah.
we didn't discuss that.
do you want to discuss it?
It's a question that I think is a valid question. And I would like to see people come in and present to the select board
Mhm.
if they're requesting funding.
Right.
I think,
I agree with that.
yeah, we've done that in the past, and I think it's the way to go.
For everyone.
Yeah,
Whether they've requested in the past or if they're new. We want to make it a standard.
All of the above for a standard practice that they come in and let us know what they're looking for.
Every year.
Yes.
And what they've done for the town.
so what
Yes.
we have to do, we have to make an announcement that we're starting this, and they have to call and make an appointment to come to select board with Winetta.
To qualify.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. So is Winetta,
Do we
this
have to, do we
report?
have to take a vote on that?
No,
Okay.
okay. So now are we going to approve Winetta's report?
I'm gonna give-
We did.
We already did. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, where are we? We are on scheduled members of the public. And that is to be the Rock River Preservation Board. Are they coming, Winetta? I know they had called us last.
Chris White is here. She is
Yeah.
present.
Hello, Tom here. Can you hear me?
Oh, Troy. Oh, yes, here you are.
And can you hear me? I'm Tom.
Yes?
Yes.
I was visible and then I got cut out. Start video. You cannot start video because the host has disabled it.
Mine as well.
Okay, Lance, can you possibly?
Oh, there I am. Can you see me?
Okay, and Chris W?
I'm Try it. There we go.
Chris White.
Chris White.
And then Troy,
Yeah.
we can see.
Okay, Chris, Troy, and Tom are present now. Are you all unmuted?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, great. Who would like to begin?
May I begin? And
First
then
of all, thank you for being here.
I was going to say that. Thank you for hearing us. So I'm one of the board members along with Troy, and I'm so happy Chris has come along. I'm the fellow who 10 years ago was chair of Rock River Preservation when there were a few accidents on 30. And I was the one who called the transportation agency and spoke to the director, and she suggested a recreational area. And the reason this problem of the traffic problem on Route 30 happened was because the internet. And suddenly we went from the 75 cars in the right of way, you know, in the grass right of way on the south side, to suddenly, 100 cars. And it really worried us a lot. So we created a website to try to educate people. We're not trying to bring vast numbers of people in. It's happening on its own. I was there this summer and I spoke to the state trooper. It's a woman, very intelligent, very helpful. And she pointed out that most of the Route 30 cars were families going to the West River, not up to Rock River. A large number of people are going to Rock River Preservation. And I guess you understand that Rock River Preservation is a steward. We're stewards of the river. We're in collaboration with Vermont. We work very heavily with the Vermont Land Trust and with the Southeast, with the Southeast Vermont Watershed Alliance, testing water to make sure it's safe. So I'm here basically to introduce Troy, who's our contact fellow. He's a local boy from Jamaica, and sorry, sir, man. And he's contacted a number of the agencies to address the problems that were brought up in your July meeting, addressing issues of the trash and fights and other issues. He'll do much better at that. Basically, all I want to finish up saying is we want to be an asset to Newfane Select Board. There's a lot of people coming in. We have a website that we want to put out smart information on safety. We want to tell people what's happening with COVID. We're very concerned. We agree with what your worries about the increased traffic and the risk of spread of COVID. Troy's been very active in handing out information and sign masks. He'll go into that. That's about it. So I'm going to turn this over to Troy, and I just want to say again, Troy's created a bridge from our organization to your select board, and please consider using it. We're a good organ of communication to a large number of people. We had quite a few people contact 900 people in 1 month checking out our site. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Troy?
Just to pick up where Tom left off, once we had seen the concerns that you as the select board had about, the COVID risk and things like, the risk to first responders and fires and all that, we decided to start a sort of grassroots-based river stewards initiative where it was sort of like getting the information out to everybody. Once I started speaking to those who were from out of state, both second homeowners and weekend, visitors, I found that very few people were aware of the August 1st mandate that went into effect. So one of the first things that we did as a board to inform people was to put up some signage clearly outlining that masks were required even outdoors if you're going to be coming in contact with anybody outside of your social circle. And, having visited the river for 20 plus years, I too have seen an increase this season in not just visitors to this river, but outdoor recreation spots in general. But we also decided to do sort of a mask outreach where we purchased a couple hundred or, a bunch of masks and handed out masks to everyone up and down the river that was visiting. I think this was back in June, I want to say we started that initiative, May, June. I decided that, after hearing the concerns about the increased risk to first responders, I'd give a call to Rescue Inc. and the state police and the sheriffs and just see what the scoop was. And other than, a tense exchange I heard about through word of mouth on Route 30, something to do with the parking there. The state police and the sheriff said there weren't any calls of note this season other than a false call for response to an Apple Watch earlier in the season, maybe middle of July. I think that happened. We just wanted to sort of let you guys know that we're happy to say that this past season, there hasn't been any upticks in COVID numbers or any of that, and also the optics of all the out-of-state plates parked along Route 30. I understand it's very real, but I think a good portion of those people are second homeowners, and also people who visit Vermont. I know I live in Jamaica, and the village is full of Airbnbs and also seasonal rentals that have been taken up all by cars with out-of-state plates. So it's sort of like a struggle between optics and what's actually happening with the numbers and the risk factors. There's also the ban on fires to prevent any potential incidents that would require first responders to show up and put themselves at risk. And we've been very strict about letting everyone know that there are no fires allowed whatsoever. And the parking and basic safety concerns, are something that we're all going to be working with or dealing with, hopefully not into this coming season, but the outreach program that we just launched this summer is showing some promise. There are a few people, and I've also been in contact with local practitioners from Grace Cottage, Brattleboro Hospital, as well as rescue responders, and they think that that's a good way to go about it. Sort of informational outreach, masking outreach, things like that. And we just wanted to let you guys know that we did look into all this, and we don't think there was a problem this summer, and we're happy to say that. So we just wanted to open up this channel of communication in case there's anything else that comes up. When I did speak to the state police and the sheriff, they said that over the years they have had mostly just a lot of concern about basic traffic safety issues and things like that. But in lieu of the fact that technically the posted speed limit is 35 miles an hour and that there's a significant breakdown lane, I think things are pretty much under control. We're sort of we took it upon ourselves this season just to do our own outreach. And I printed out printouts directly from the state of Vermont, guidelines about COVID and everything. So it was a universally accepted, take on it. But yeah, we just wanted to check in with you guys and let you know that those concerns with the fires and the fighting and the first responders and things like that, we checked into it, and maybe it's I haven't heard of any incidents on the police logs at all. So if anything in the future does come up safety wise or in terms of that, our board is very active. We've actually been meeting every week for a good hour or two every week about all these matters: parking, sanitation, fire safety, all that, water testing. So we're very proactive, and just wanted to put it out there to let you guys know that you're welcome to contact us at all, because one of us is there at least a couple times a week, and a weekly check for simple garbage pickup, things like that. And I think we had 2 or 3 abandoned tents that we've collected after, a couple days and found homes for and things like that. But other than a couple errant tents and a couple yoga mats for day use, we haven't seen any left trash or broken glass or any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, I was just there yesterday, and I think what I brought out of there I could have held in the palms of my hands, but that's a good thing. So we're happy to say that, the numbers being decreased from the decreased parking really, kind of quieted things down this summer so that we didn't have any incidents yet. So
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for hearing me, by the way.
May I speak?
Of course, Chris White.
Okay. This is a little weird for me, all this television screening stuff.
It's
I live on the Rock River. My property adjoins the Rock River Preservation Trust property. We meet annually to discuss on-site problems that we may have, or just to celebrate the fact that we don't have problems. And we keep our lines of communication open. I have many grandchildren who swim in the river. They're down there from 10 or 11 in the morning till sometimes 8 o'clock at night. I couldn't ask for better neighbors. They watch out for the kids. They help pick up the trash if there is any. They are respectful of our use of the river as we are respectful of their use of the river. And I have not seen any problems whatsoever. We have young people who come and party at our beach at night. That's a tradition that's gone back since I was a child. And we enjoy it and we like it. I just want to say that everything that they're doing, they are trying to be good stewards and keep things open for everyone to enjoy, just as we are. We don't want people to not be able to come and enjoy the river, even though it's right in our yard. I do have a concern that I don't think that the parking solution this year solved anything. I think it made things worse. A great number of the cars that are parked there are people who go to the West River. They are not people who go to the Rock River. And they are now, instead of parking on the side where they would go down to the river, they're having to cross Route 30. And I've seen so many times that really caused me concern. So I hope that going into next summer, you'll consider returning the parking to where it was. And that's really all I have to say.
Well, thank you for sharing. And it's wonderful to know that you live on that river and that you and your family enjoy it so much and that you have a good experience with your neighbors and the people who visit.
I'm willing to answer any questions that anyone has.
Okay, if anybody on Select Board has a question, please raise a hand. Shelley?
Yes. So can you tell us what the Rock River Trust or Preservation Board does? They own property? Are you a nonprofit? And what is your website?
Good for you. It's rockriverpreservation.org. And we were incorporated about 14 years ago. We purchased there was a lot of problems with the Connecticut Watershed Conservation Group that wanted to get rid of the mile of the Newfane Trail number 11, road number 11. It's discontinued. It ran along the river. It brings you to Indian Love Call, the first spot of note. So we bought 3 acres, and it's a mile long. And last year we purchased on the Grimes Hill side 21 we have 22 acres total now. So we bought that side of the river that goes up to Grimes Hill. We do not want access on Grimes Hill. It would just cause too many problems. We are trying to keep Rock River The trail, it's safe. You've noticed there used to be a lot more EMT problems. We've really limited it by improving the trail, but we are keeping it a wilderness trail. We tell people from the very beginning, wear the proper footwear. We don't want it Club Med. We don't want it too easy. We don't want it too hard, dangerous. We do not need more numbers. We just are, I want you to know, we're really worried about that. We're working, we have a charter. You can read it in our website. We're dedicated to maintaining the land. We're doing invasive plant controls, with trail maintenance. Chris White and Wayne, who we just lost, have been really helpful in creating smart signs, especially around Indian Love Call. We're committed to keeping the traditional uses of each of the swimming holes. So after the first two swimming holes, there's 5 more that are all that we have access to. So there's 7 trails, and every little Indian Love Trail is Indian Love Calls the family beach. Signs everywhere, clothing required. And we try to educate our regulars to walk up to someone and say, no, read the sign. There is clothing optional beyond. It's good old Vermont tradition, I was told. Grandpa used to do it that way. And, there were issues in the past of sanitation. Where do so many people do it? And we were really worried about that. We were, the Southern Vermont State Conservation, Marie Caduto was working with us on that issue. And eventually we decided we were invited by the Southeast Vermont Watershed Alliance, which Chris is chair of, Chris Williams. And we donate $300 a year to test the waters. And Rock River is the cleanest source of the 30 sources of water into the West River. And in E. coli count, but it's also the largest. And so it's a good reason it's rather clean. And another point is, I guess I'm forgetting that part.
Website?
The
website?
It's rockriverpreservation.org. And thank you. We respond to that. There's always someone monitoring it. And I also wanted to point out, as Troy said, we've had more meetings around COVID and the dangers and the worries around that issue in our board than we've had in the past 3 years.
I did happen to notice on your website that you promoted parking in the breakdown lane. It's on the, I saw it on the website, and that's just concerning because there's I understand that the going in towards Brattleboro, that the left-hand side is closed off, but then you have the breakdown lane, which isn't supposed to be for parking. So I'm just concerned about that.
Actually, there's only two places in the state, I was told by the Transportation Agency 10 years ago. There might be another one at some quarry somewhere. We have a recreational area, and that's that's why we were the ones who asked for signage. And then we decided, now we need the blinking light. And then we needed the blinking light to be turned off at night because the neighbors didn't like it. But we're trying very hard. And the police, if you read that piece, it was actually we quoted the State Trooper Troy might be better at this answer. And he was the one who said you can't close off breakdown lanes.
Right,
So that's why we weren't promoting the break. We aren't even promoting coming. We're just promoting information.
No, I was just curious. That's all.
Well, the thing about all the parking on Route 32 is the optics is really interesting, because I know a lot of Newfane residents and local residents that aren't aware that there are 6 or 7 swimming holes. Like, all those cars are not just, you know, families not masking on top of each other, or the same 100 people in one spot. Like, you know, I'll tell you firsthand from personal experience that 10 feet is nothing. Like, you know, it's actually the environment of Rock River and just the attitude of the people that always go there. There's a lot of social distance. People kind of want to go out there, do their own thing. And speaking to the Chamber of Commerce and the trends up at Lake Willoughby, as well as over at different swimming holes over in Wilmington, there's a big increase in outdoor recreational traffic that's very real. And depending on how the political, you know, environment treats us and this COVID thing unfolds, I feel like we might be in for another summer of increased traffic, and maybe some of it will be weekend out of state traffic. And I think just the town organizations sort of have to be ready to work together in the spring, because you know, everyone says during this whole pandemic, the best thing to do is to be outside where you don't have to wear a mask, stay separate, you know, go for a hike by yourself, go swimming, go fishing, outdoor. But at the same time, if the way to mitigate that risk is by closing down the safe parking, it's sort of like you know, cutting off your nose to spite your face. So we totally like agree with the fact that the numbers had to come down in whatever way possible to mitigate the summer. But now, knowing what we've had to deal with this summer, you know, those families that want to go into the West River as well and don't want to bring the kids up Depot Road to Rock River have to cross the street, and there isn't really any outreach. That's why we took it upon ourselves to sort of do the outreach, say masks are required in Newfane in the state of Vermont. Here's a mask. There you go. You know what I mean? It's kind of
that's wonderful.
It's kind of like the public sanitation thing. It's like there are national accepted guidelines about bury it 200 feet from a river, at least 8 inches deep, for through hikers and campers and picnickers and all that. I mean that's what we have to work with, you know? I mean, there are all kinds of other swimming holes, and none of which have, you know, porta potties or any facilities at all either. So it's sort of like a combination of expecting people to do the right thing, but also being prepared for them not to, but not necessarily out of spite. Some of them, like I said, when I did actually speak to people with a mask on to show that masking is sort of a thing that we need to do this summer, 9 out of 10 of them had no idea. They had no idea that masks were required in Vermont, or that they were required outside. And it was sort of one of those things where, oh, Vermont doesn't have a problem. And I say, well, we want to keep it that way. You know, and all the, you know, traffic, this is our way of keeping it safe. So like Chris said, her concern is the safety of the parking. It's like, I can tell you that we're going to be in for another summer of a lot of people getting out of the city and coming out, whether it's for the summer or just the weekend or this or that. But I think if we work together, you know, the town and our organization, we can get a lot of stuff done. I mean, I think we can make a real dent in it. And I have seen a lot of people with masks since July or August that I didn't earlier.
And I really appreciate everything you guys have done for that. That's wonderful.
We love it in practice, and also, you know, just to keep it clean and safe and all that too for everybody. That's why we exist as an organization.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Kelly?
So I guess originally, just to bring it back, our concerns were, you know, because of COVID and also the sanitation. And as a note, the parking across on Route 30 for the West River side of it is really owned by Dummerston. So it was more of a public concern just for out-of-staters during COVID era, you know, time. So, but it's been great getting to know that you guys are there going up, you know, through the Rock River and preserving that.
And also, one of the good things that happened in this, you know, COVID experience is we've created something called the River Stewards program. And it's a large number of volunteers, of regulars, many locals, many out-of-staters, that are regulars at Rock River that have committed themselves to educate people and welcome people and educate all newcomers on the norms of river use, you know, carry in, carry out. We have that kiosk. We give out brochures, the website, you'll see the guidelines we request people to have to follow. So the steward program, I'm so happy with it because I was impressed with people volunteering and saying, yeah, I'll you know, if we see someone throwing trash out or doing something dangerous, where they're willing to go to other regulars and say, will you support me in approaching them and simply trying to explain clearly that this is a no-no. And we've never had that before. Mm-hmm. We've just trusted people to be mature. And yes, exactly.
Is there anybody else on our select board who's present right now that has a question or a comment to make to the guests tonight?
It's just that I'm glad they're.
Mike?
I just said I'm glad they're paying attention and doing what they're doing. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, I never knew they had the whole organization that was really looking after it.
right.
Are the swimming holes still pretty good shape up through there? Like the Indian love call and stuff?
They're pretty dry right now.
They're what?
They're pretty dry right now.
Oh, I know.
Been a lot. Dirt and stuff.
Good time to do some cleanup up in there, probably.
Everything is clean and nice.
Oh, good. I've never been there. I'm going to have to check it out.
Oh, I have to say on a personal note that in the 1970s, my parents bought a year-round vacation home in Newfane, and my daughter was about 6 or 7 years old, and we used to go to Indian Love Call all the time.
Oh, good.
Well, we would park on, is it Depot Road? What's that road? Depot Road?
Depot.
Yeah. And the cement blocks were not there. And it was a wonderful hike down to the river. And my daughter scared the hell out of me, excuse my expression, because she used to jump off the cliffs, you know, where everybody else into the river. And it was a real wonderful family place. And then all of a sudden, these cement blocks appeared and we were not allowed to go anymore. And it was devastating for me and my family and our friends that all of a sudden those trails were closed. But we have wonderful memories and I have great pictures of that time down at Indian Love Call.
Tell people that tell families that, you know, it is open. That, as Chris Williams was explaining, it's
Chris
beautiful.
White.
Chris White.
Chris White.
Right. He wasn't William.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And Thomas and Chris to come and share everything about what you're doing. We have been very concerned about a lot of issues with COVID and health and sanitation and crowds, and you've been great in answering a lot of our questions, and I'm very impressed with what you're doing. Thank you.
And please reach out, and we want to help. We really do. So reach out anytime there's a question. Come to us first, and we'll try and make it work. Thank you.
Thank you very much for attending our meeting tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is unscheduled members of the public. And we have a lot of people who are going to join in later, but it's not basically unscheduled. I think they're here for a specific reason. So what I'd like to do is to go to old business. We have some items that we can talk about quickly, and then we'll deal with our public statement, which I think a lot of people are here for that. So our first item under old business is to schedule the budget season, and I spoke a little bit about it before. That's starting in October. We do have to meet on alternate Mondays, at least twice a month, to do our budget. At that time, we will have the people who want to apply for appropriations come. We can talk about our budget for getting a large screen TV on the first meeting and just please put it in your calendars that we will be meeting every single Monday at 6 p.m. for quite a while. And I appreciate that all of us do it together with good spirit, I should say, good spirit, and maybe some snacks again. Okay. Any comments about that? Budget season?
What's the first meeting date? I don't have the calendar in front of me.
October 12th.
Okay.
October
August 12th. I mean, not August, October.
October 12th.
Wait a minute, isn't that Columbus Day? What day of the week? Is that Monday?
Yeah,
What, is that a holiday, Lynetta?
it is. It's Columbus Day.
It's a Columbus Day.
Do you want to do the 13th?
We could do it Tuesday, the 13th, if you want.
Sure.
I'll write that.
25th, which is,
That's too late. Well, our next meeting is October 5th, the regular meeting. So I guess we could decide if you want to make it the next day. I mean, after Columbus Day on October 13th.
Let's figure that out on our next meeting, October 5th.
Good idea.
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody?
Perfect.
Yep.
Yes, okay. Next item under old business is the draft response to July 21st State Troopers letter and a request about participating in shaping the new law enforcement, what is it?
change,
Policing in Newfane and across Vermont.
changes and approach.
Oh, changes in approach to policing in Newfane and across Vermont. We can talk about it now, or we can postpone it until next meeting.
I would like to postpone it till the next meeting.
Is there a second on that?
Okay.
Can somebody come up with a
Second.
draft review?
Mike, what?
Can somebody come up with a draft to be reviewed on concerns being addressed?
Is there a draft of this letter, or we're writing a letter?
We're responding to the letter that I read at the last meeting, but I think we need to talk about it more and come up with a draft together.
Okay.
So I think we should put it on the next agenda and get something done.
I agree. Can we put it on the next agenda, Lynetta, please? And you can
Send out
actually,
that letter.
if you want to write to Lieutenant French and tell him we will be discussing this on October 5th. Okay. Now we're up to requests for a public statement regarding sentiments in Newfane. And we started this conversation on September 8th. And I see that a lot of people are here to participate in this conversation tonight. And
You only just have to make a decision on what we're doing.
I'm sorry, what, Shelley?
You just have to make a decision on what we're doing, correct?
Yeah. So what I would like to do is to start out by reading a letter. We have gotten several letters in the mail this week, and basically they all say the same. We can read them later, but I'd like to read the basic letter out loud now, and we'll take it from there then. And it starts out, "Hello, Marion and the entire select board. Pasted below is a letter that was circulated to our community earlier this week. Below the letter is everyone who signed it, and that is approximately 250 people, 40 people, excuse me. To the select board. At the September 8th select board meeting, 130 people submitted letters, many in the form of a shared letter, asking that the select board issue a statement condemning racist threats painted onto Route 30 and affirming this town as a place that values all its residents. At that meeting, Newbrook Elementary School principal Scotty Tabachnik, explained how important this is for the school community. Pastor Rob Ham also emphasized the importance of inclusion, saying that Newfane values inclusion over exclusion, and the importance of stating that value clearly in a time when the flames of white supremacy are being fanned. Additional comments emphasize the strength of our community and the need to speak up so that everyone knows they are safe here. The importance of a statement continues to grow with each passing day. As other towns take action, speak in their own voices, and organize, Newfane stands alone in its silence. The Select Board leads our community. It sets an example for everyone who lives here, young and old, and also for visitors and neighbors, members of our West River Valley and our Windham County communities. We respectfully ask that you lead by issuing a statement confirming our community values and speaking out against bullies that want to divide us and to intimidate members of our community based on identity. We have worked together to draft the following statement, taking into account the conversation in this town and beyond. So I am now reading the statement. The town of Newfane condemns hate speech, prejudice, and acts intended to induce fear on any person based on their identity. We are a community of diverse backgrounds and opinions, and we draw strength from it. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and feel safe in our beautiful town. That is the end of the statement. One more paragraph says that this statement of community values is inclusive and includes and speaks to everyone. It also shows shared values with our neighboring towns. It does not commit to legislative or law enforcement action, and it is well within our norms, traditions, and the scope of the Select Board's legal authority. Please vote to adopt this statement tonight. Thank you for your service and for your leadership. And below, there are about 240 signatures. So, Angela, you're raising your hand?
Yes, may I speak?
Yes, you may.
I would like to make a motion tonight, right now, to have the Town of Newfane Select Board adopt and approve this statement. And if you'd like me to read it again, I will.
Yes.
That the Town of Newfane condemns hate speech, prejudice, and acts intended to induce fear in any person based on their identity. We are a community of diverse backgrounds and opinions, and we draw strength from it. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and feel safe in our beautiful town.
Is there a second to that motion? I will make a second to the motion. So we can have a conversation now, a discussion. Is anybody wanting to say something? As last time, I would like to say that with the number of people here, I am going to ask for a few things. Number one, that we please be very careful in the way we listen to people and that we respect each person's opinions and thoughts. I also would like to ask us to be a select board of good manners, and we ask our visitors to have the equal good manners with each other. I also need people to raise their hand when somebody has finished speaking so they don't interrupt them, and I can see your hand and I will call on you. And the last thing is that because we have many people here, we're going to have to put a time limit. as we did last week, of about 2 to 3 minutes per person. So we can begin now. And Shelley, you raised your hand. You're the first person.
So this statement came from where? I just wanted to, put it on record.
Can somebody answer that? Where's Dan DeWalt? Dan DeWalt?
I can answer that. Luke Stafford from Williamsville.
Okay, Luke.
Hi, Marion. Is it okay if I?
Would you like to answer that question for Shelley and
Yeah,
all
please.
of us, please?
So I'm the one who actually emailed it over. It was a working group of about 5 or 6 people who crafted the statement and the letter. And then on Tuesday of this past week, so about 6 days ago, it was distributed to the community for signatures, where it gained those 200 plus signatures.
So I think we also have a legal statement from our attorneys.
Yes, we do. I would like to say to everybody that I just want to say some things. First of all, it's disturbing to hear that people are condemning the select board for not acting earlier. And I just would like to speak on behalf of the select board with this. And you can have your own opinions. But we are a group of 5 people who work together, and we work together very well. That doesn't mean that each and every time we are perfect. It doesn't mean that we don't have disagreements at times, but we are a committed group of 5 people who ultimately get the jobs done here. We listen to each other. Again, sometimes there's a little dispute, but we're human beings and that happens. But we are also very thoughtful people, and we listen to everyone who comes to us. And I have been on the select board for 7 years. Chris Williams and Mike Fitzpatrick have been on the select board for, I think, at least 11 years. Shelley's been here for almost 3 years, and Angela is in her 2nd year. And we're very respectful to each and every person that comes to the town, and we work with everyone. Unfortunately, one of the letters that I got, not that I got, that we all got, said that when Mike Fitzpatrick said last time that we are here to work with everyone in the town, that comment was responded in a very negative way, saying, oh, that's just a cliche. Oh, sure. That's very insulting to us, I think, because the truth is we do work for everybody and we include everybody. And I can only speak for myself, but for the 7 years that I've been here, I have never seen any visitor be disrespected or talked down to or not taken seriously. So that's what I have to say. And we are here for the having a wonderful town, which we do think we have. And when people are writing in and saying that Newfane has a terrible reputation now, I'm very sorry that you think that way. That's not our experience. So I'd like to see a raise of hands of anybody who wants to speak. Mike Fitzpatrick, please.
Yeah, I didn't happen to see that letter, but somebody made that remark about me, but I don't really care what they think. I'm here for the town. I'm here for everybody in town. I think some of these letters that you got to keep putting on sometimes brings in negative response to a lot of the people that they're talking about different things. One of the things I do suggest, I think the town should make an ordinance or in our behalf of the town. I would like to see that we will, because it said that we'd take responsibility and, prosecute or whatever. And I think we should, if anybody destroys any of town property by painting on roads, bridges, signs, buildings, or whatever, we'll go after them at the full extent to prosecute them if we find out who does all that stuff. Because I don't think we need our roads rode on, our bridges rode on, or nothing. Because I think a lot of times when they write this stuff on the roads, you're asking for a response when they do that. Somebody's going to respond to it in a negative way or whatever. Somebody might take it the wrong way. But as far as, like Marion said, we're here for everybody in town. We don't care what color they are, or who they are, or what race they are, or anything like that. I mean, we're here for everybody. And if you don't think we're doing our job or don't like it, why don't you guys step up and do it? But, you know, I don't think we need to put it in an article. It's already there. Most of that stuff by law anyways. If you're getting bullied by somebody, you got a right to call the cops. The state police had a good letter last time telling us what they were doing. I thought they had a pretty good response to most every question you guys asked. And I think they got it pretty well covered. I mean, we don't have a right to go out and police this town. I mean, somebody calls up says you're getting bullied. I mean, we can't do nothing about that. Of course we're against it. Nobody likes that. Same with the schools. You have schools, kids getting bullied. What do? Not much of nothing, you know. Just call you a bully. I think this, you know, this is, I think the more you respond to some of these things, the more you're asking for trouble. But I mean, you guys should know that we're all here for everybody. And like I said, I just want to make it a thing in our thing that we catch anybody writing anything on our roads, bridges, or any of our town-owned property, we will prosecute them.
Thank you, Mike. And I'd like to respond back to what Mike said, because with the comment that Mike made last week, that we are for everybody here in the town and everyone, that was criticized, saying, and dismissed by saying, oh, that's a cliche. I want you to read again the last sentence of the proposed statement, where it says, everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and feel safe in our beautiful town. So why is it then when Mike says, or we say as a select board, that we are here for everybody and everyone, that word is dismissed, and yet the same word is in your statement, which I believe is a very good thing to say. It's really a question that I have, that in one sense, somebody's criticized, or we as a select board are criticized because we are saying we are here for everyone, and yet that same word is in the proposed statement, which I happen to like the statement, by the way.
Dan has his hand up.
Diane Ecken. Oh.
Hi, thank you. I have one comment, and that is simply that people who get bullied really benefit when bystanders stand up and actually say that they won't tolerate the behavior from the bully. That's all.
Okay. Dan? Dan?
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah.
Dan, can you speak a little louder? Dan?
Can you hear me now?
A little louder, Dan?
Can you hear me?
Can
you hear that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I don't understand why. I mean, I understand if the board feels bad that someone said that and that feels that you didn't mean that statement. You're talking about emotion, which is not criticizing the board at all. You're talking about emotion, which is talking about loving our neighbors and taking care of each other. And I think the point, my question is when I heard you folks say, we're here for everyone, I thought that that's what we were here for. We were here for the people who were harmed by this racist graffiti. And I got the impression that everyone that you guys are talking about, I don't know if you really included those people or not. So we all want to include everyone. I think the question is that what we're really doing? Are we including everyone in this? And I hope we are. And this resolution is saying we care about each other. And if someone is attacked by a racist, as an example, event, or if someone, has their house blown out by a flood, we will express our concern and our support and our love for them and do what we can to help them out. it's a pretty simple thing. And I can
Exactly.
understand if the select board is upset that, you know, people were criticizing you, but I would hope that we would just stick with this resolution that Angela has offered and just debate it.
Dan, I think that basically we all are for the same thing. We all want to take care of everybody. As select board members, as community members, we want to look out for each other and be wonderful neighbors, and also to listen and care for what people are saying. I think the fact that people said that by this time Newfane has a terrible reputation was said to say to the select board we didn't act quickly enough. My response to that is, and what I said before, is that our select board takes things very seriously. As I told you last week, Dan, and you know because you got a copy of it, I did call VLCT. And for those people who don't know what VLCT is, it stands for Vermont League of Cities and Towns. And it is a legal organization where we are allowed to call at any time and ask about legalities. And they are very, very incredibly knowledgeable and kind in responding to us. So given that select board does take things seriously, I chose to call VLCT and to get an attorney's opinion about, is it the town's responsibility to make a statement versus a community or a meeting, or putting it onto a legal town meeting at the end of the year? And the response was that—
Want to read it?
What?
You want to read it?
Yeah, I can.
Or someone? I have a copy of it here.
Yeah. Why don't you read it, Shelley, if you have it in front of you, please?
Okay, so this is from Susan Snelling.
Sending.
Yeah. It says, "Hi, Marion. The government speech, in quotes, doctrine allows a government entity, such as the local select board, to take a position on an issue without offending First Amendment free speech protections. In short, the legal analysis of how speech is regulated ultimately depends on who is speaking. If the town is speaking on its own behalf, such as the select board passing a resolution, then the so-called government speech doctrine applies. So long as the town is not creating an open forum for other speakers on town property, then its message would constitute government speech, i.e., the board can say what it wants and select the views it wants to express. See Pleasant Grove City versus Suman 555 U.S. 460, 467 through 68, 2009. The doctrine is explained here in greater detail at www.constitution-conan.ed/the-government-speech-doctrine. As a policy-making body, the Select Board can pass a resolution. Note that it will be symbiotic, as such as a resolution or a statement is not regulatory in nature. However, I cannot speak to whether the Select Board should pass such a resolution or the appropriateness of the timing or process. That is to be decided by the board as a majority, and I hope this helps.
Sincerely, Susan Sennings,
Yes.
Esquire. Yes, Chris. Thank you, Shelley, by the way, for reading that to me. Chris White.
I was one of the people who sent a letter saying that I did not agree with the previous resolution that was presented to you before. I have read this resolution and I fully support it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Apple. Apple?
Yep, I would like to, if possible, I'd like to shift the focus off of the emphasis on the select board and what the select board has been doing or hasn't been doing and shift the focus onto the people who are harmed by hate speech and racist graffiti. I think those are the people who are the focus of the conversation we're having tonight. And I think as a town, it's important that we show our support for them. So if we could keep the focus on the topic of the people who are affected by hate speech, I think that would be more
Thank you,
productive.
Apple.
I agree with you, Apple.
Who's saying that? I need people to raise their hands so I can call on you if you have a comment, please.
Marion, there is a statement from the lawyers, correct? From the lawyer?
Yes,
I did not read the statement. This was just a letter.
right. I did send the statement to her.
Oh, okay. That's based on that statement. Okay.
Yes. When I got a copy of the statement that is in question for tonight, I sent that statement to the attorney so that she could know what we're talking about.
That was her analysis of the statement then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Fiona. Fiona?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm glad that we were speaking about this, and in hearing the response you just heard from the lawyer, it sounds as though they are saying that it is within your authority to make a statement. And I think it would be a powerful statement to say, and it sounds like we've all said that we believe in inclusion and that everyone is welcome in our town. And with the statement from the lawyer, I'm sorry, that wasn't the lawyer, whatever entity that was, that advises the town,
Right.
it is within the select board's authority to make a statement. And I think the statement that I signed that letter, and I think that statement and that letter is a very wonderful way of affirming the kind of community that we want to be in and that we want to foster. And I would encourage you to please adopt that letter, that statement.
Thank you very much, Fiona. David? I see somebody raising their thumb. Is anybody else who would like to say something? Okay, we have a motion. Brenda.
Thank you, and thank you all for all you're doing. I just wanted to say that I really think I want to echo that it's really important to name that Black and brown lives are often at risk across our country, but also inside this state, and people do not feel comfortable moving into our community as a result. And because of that, I think that this statement is a good first step to really making sure that people know that we are a welcoming community. There are people that are attacked by white supremacists in this state. I myself, because I made myself a public figure, have had that experience as a Jewish person, but I'm allowed to hide behind the color of my skin, which is something that Black and brown folks cannot do. And so that makes it especially important for us to make sure that we make a statement like that. So I want to thank everybody that did the work to make sure that they did that, and really encourage the select board to take this on, because it is a lot of work to center the people who are being harmed and remove ourselves from that conversation. It's a really big challenge, and I commend everybody that is doing that work.
Thank you, Brenda. I actually would like to say something similar to what Brenda said right now. I'm also Jewish, and I'm the child of Holocaust survivors. And I have had family killed in the woods, shot to death by the Nazis. So I grew up, and I still have day-to-day experience of racism and hate. And I just want to say that. And I'm sure that there are other people in similar situations, whether it's you're you're looked upon because of the color of your skin or your sexual orientation or your political views or many other differences. We probably each have a story or two to tell. But I think right now I'm hoping that we're all working together to get past this and to adopt something. That's my opinion. Anybody else? Okay, there is a motion and
Do you mind if I go?
who's raising their hand?
Marion, Luke Stafford. I spoke at the very beginning.
Okay.
I thank you first of all for sharing that, Marion. That's deeply personal and tragic. So thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to say that none of us asked to be here. It's not fair that this vandal kind of forced us all into this position. But unfortunately, this is where we're at. And at this point, if we don't make a public statement as a community, that the silence is going to do the speaking for us. So it's the same reason, I don't know if you guys watch football. I'm a huge football fan, but the NFL is finally this year coming out and taking action and speaking publicly about, what they're going to do to fight racism. And I don't think they made that decision because they wanted to. It's because all of the other major sports, NHL, Major League Baseball, all those guys are taking action and being public about how they're going to fight systemic racism. And for us, when all the surrounding towns like Putney and Dummerston and Jamaica have made statements and we haven't, that unfortunately we're in this position now, and none of us asked to be here. I didn't want to be here to have to do this, but it's our reality. So I think it's important that we do say something.
Thank you, Luke. Thomas?
Yes, thank you. My name is Thomas Ely. This is my first time in a select board meeting. To see this capacity. I did send an email to you all, so you've already heard from me. For those of you who don't know me, we own a house in Newfane. We've owned a house for over 10 years here, but we've moved here permanently when I retired last year. So we're actually now full-time living here. In my previous work, I was the bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Vermont, which covered the whole state of Vermont. And what I want to speak to those of you who are select board leaders is the important role of leadership in making statements when there is hurt in the community, when there's concerns expressed by the community. The voice of leaders matters deeply in these things, and especially as I think it was Apple said, those who have been hurt by the hate speech that's been represented in the communities around us need to hear from leaders. It's not that you need to speak to your fans. It's you speak as leaders from the heart of who you believe you are. And I take to heart very much what Michael said about that you are here for everyone. And one of the ways that dignity for everyone is shown is when leaders step up and make important statements in times in response to situations. So I just wanted to speak from my own experience about how important that has been in my 18 years as Bishop of Vermont, and how I think it's important for those of you on the select board. And I thank you for your service and for your commitment to this town. And I'm grateful to be part of this community. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done in your life and your career. And thank you for sharing with us. You've said some very important things, and I appreciate that. Is there anybody else who wants to make a comment or a statement right now? So we have a motion and a second to accept the statement that has been written, and I think I'm going to read it one more time. And it says, where is it? It says, the town of Newfane condemns hate speech, prejudice, and acts intended to induce fear in any person based on their identity. We are a community of diverse backgrounds and opinions, and we draw strength from it. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and feel safe in our beautiful town. So I would like to take a vote on this now to pass that statement and resolution for the town of Newfane from the Select Board. If we are ready, all those in favor of accepting this resolution and statement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there anybody else on the Select Board who wants to accept this statement? All those in opposed, please say aye. Is there anybody who's abstaining? Christopher, are you voting tonight?
No.
Where are you? Did you say aye?
Aye.
Great. Mike.
Well, what is he saying aye to? Because you've done.
Oh, are you saying aye that you will accept the statement?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, Mike, do you have a voice or an opinion? A vote.
Can you hear me?
What is he saying? I can't hear you, Mike. I'm sorry. Angela, did you hear what he said?
No, because you guys were overlapping.
Yeah. Mike, are you voting?
I think I got it now.
You're good.
Yes.
I'm not against this article by no means, but I would also like to add what I had to say about it too. About anybody caught painting on any of our properties. I mean, that's one of the stands I think we can take as a selectman. And I'm not against this. It's about everybody says anything. We're here for everybody, and that's pretty much what that's saying.
Okay.
I'm not against this article, but I also wanted to, you know, what we can do as a town. I mean, the only thing we can do is protect the town property. I mean, what goes on private land, we don't have no jurisdiction over. But I think any of our stuff, anybody caught painting anything on any of our stuff, we'll deal with them.
I think you're right, Mike. I think that if we approve the statement, it can be a beginning of looking at other issues, just like what you said. But right now, I just need to have a vote, aye or nay.
No, I said I'd approve it.
Good, thank you. And Shelley?
Yeah, so I would say yes, but I also wanted to, back Michael in his statement that we would prosecute anyone that was defacing property.
Well, I think that goes without saying with any criminal investigation if that happens.
Well,
that it be investigated and then be prosecuted
but I mean, that's
as such.
That's why we're here.
I just want to say that right now we have 5 select board members saying aye in accepting this statement and resolution, and so it passes. And I thank everybody, and we will continue this conversation. It's very important what Mike and Shelley just said, and it can be the beginning of other things to pass. Juliet? Juliet?
Hi. So I'm speaking on behalf of the organizers of West River Valley Mutual Aid. We're the organization that helped push this, helped put the letter together and pass it around the community so that you all could step into this really important leadership role. So we'd like to first of all congratulate you on taking this really important leadership step that 240 of us have asked you to do, and last time it was 130, so we're almost double. So that's exciting for us, and congratulations and thank you for taking this really important step. we would also like to invite you to now debate and consider adopting a resolution to take the next logical step, which
Wait,
is
Juliet, can I just interrupt you? We're,
Sure.
we're here at this agenda just to speak about this tonight. And if you have further issues that you would like to talk about or propose, we can do it at another meeting. You can ask to be put on the agenda, but tonight is only for this acceptance or not of the statement.
even though it's tied together and sort of part of our whole project?
Well, you said you want to add something new now.
We want to invite you to take a next step here. As opposed to this being the end, we would like the town of Newfane to consider next steps. And we have some thoughts on what those might be for you all to talk about going forward.
I think like what Marion said, bring it forward on the next select board meeting.
Just call Winetta and ask to be put on the agenda and let her know what the subject will be, and we can talk about it whenever you're ready. Anybody else?
Angela?
Yes. I think it would be important to let Juliet have a couple sentences so we can see what their next step is. And then when we go to the next agenda, then we have it already. It's an important subject. And I think if we just let her have a few more seconds to let us know what the next step is, that is important for us to have in our mindset to go forward.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Go ahead, Juliet.
Thanks, Angela. I appreciate that. So we would like to invite you to consider investing in diversity training and education for town officials, including the select board. And the reason, the logic behind this is that increasing our diversity literacy as town leadership is going to drastically increase and improve the way that we can respond to future instances like this without the 3-month lag and requiring 2 letters and all these people at the meeting. You know, if you all have the vocabulary to consider the situation from that framework, I think it would place us in a much stronger position going forward to consider viewpoints that are different from perhaps the majority of residents of small town Vermont. And I know that I personally, as a Newfane resident, would feel really well supported by a town that was investing in that kind of initiative.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, I thank each and every person who has participated and shared, and I see one other hand up. Would you like to speak?
Okay, you want to say something? Sure. My name is Mamadou Cissé, and I live here in South Newfane. And actually, I am originally from West Africa in Senegal. And I moved here since 2007. But I'm sorry that I have to speak tonight under these circumstances because I've been feeling pretty safe being here for 13 years. Although I have some minor, interaction with some people, but I always consider that as like a human incident. But I've never think like there was some kind of, racism. I don't want to even say the word because I don't really believe it. I believe that people, are good. They're good people, they're bad people, wherever you are. But I just want to say that I've been part of this community, working with the school, teaching, doing a lot of stuff with this community, and I've never felt unsafe until maybe I'm having a little concern now that this thing is coming out about racism or the graffiti, Those things are, pretty frightening. As a black man who's been living here for over 10 years, 13 years now. And I just want to thank you for supporting this cause because it will definitely make me feel like I'm part of this community.
Yes.
And I think if it wasn't the case, I won't longer feel safe living here. Thank you so much. That's all I have to say.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Please feel free to come to any of our meetings and to contribute about yourself as you've done tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Right. And I thank you. I'll just chime in. Thank you to the Select Board for adopting this. And I think this is the first step in opening up, as Juliet said, you know, how we can be proactive about this as a community. So thank you for your consideration and the vote. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So I think that we actually have completed this conversation, and I feel that I feel very happy and relieved and proud of all of us. And that I hope that everybody understands that I really have to say that the Select Board takes things very seriously. And we don't just jump and make decisions without conversing, studying, researching things. And so I'm appreciative that you had patience with us, most of you did, and that we are here to serve you. And we live in a great community. Look at all the wonderful people we have here. We're very blessed, very blessed.
I need to see more of you at other meetings, though.
What?
We need to see more of them at other meetings.
Oh, Juanetta said we need to see more of you at other meetings. So just keep coming back. Okay, thank you. And we have next item on the agenda is
Lister's vacancy.
New business.
No, the lister's vacancy.
Oh, the lister's vacancy. This is very important. We have 3 listers positions for Newfane, and the listers are people who go and to people's homes and they assess it and they appraise it and they work extremely hard on their computers, writing up all the information for each property. They listen to people at certain times of the year who might be upset with their taxes and would like to appeal their taxes. They are just very useful and very hardworking people. Right now, there is a vacancy. We only have 2 active listers. And what the problem has been is that this listing position has been posted and advertised in the newspapers, and it is a part-time position. Nobody has responded. So the question now is from the listers, will the town be willing to hire somebody? Because the lister position is an elected position.
And they have to be residents.
And they have to be residents of Newfane. Nobody has stepped up to this position. So the question now is in front of the Select Board and with the town is, first of all, would we be willing to allow somebody who is not a resident of Newfane to come in? And secondly, can we hire them rather than elect them? And that is the issue that is in front of us right now. Shelley?
And the job is getting more difficult because of the computerization of the records. And
Right.
And the people that have been working as our listers are a bit older, and you know it's hard to learn new things. You know, I think it would be a good idea to look into hiring a lister who's trained and has the technical capability to do the work quicker, maybe, you know, because of the computerization of it all. So I think we should look to doing some of that, at least with one person.
Do you want to make a motion about that?
Well, I'd like to hear what the other board members think about this.
I think our position anyways, we would be hiring somebody to fill the position of it until the next election. I mean, we've tried to do this before.
Yeah.
With everything, with the town clerks and the administrative assistant and all that. We tried to make it so it was hired by the select board. And every time at town meeting, they voted down. And they said, I mean, the thing is, I mean, right now they do get paid X amount of dollars for a salary, you know, paid. So it is a paid position. It's not free, you know.
Right.
We'd have to be the ones that hire them right now anyway, because we got a vacancy. But it's till the next, you know, whoever it is would fill that term, I think it is, for that amount of time.
Yeah.
Until our next election. But I said, you know, we have tried to do this as a job instead of a election, and they voted it down. And I do think it would be better to have it as a job. You know, you'd probably get
hired job, you mean?
Well,
I think but you have to do a charter too, though, because you know you'd have to go through and do the whole charter thing like we tried to before. And I said I think it would be better because, you know, people would be a little more secure to that, you know, having the job, because at least if we hire them, you know, as it is right now, they have no benefits and stuff because they're elected. You know, if it was the higher position, they get the same as like the road crew and anybody that's hired by the town.
Yeah.
So I think it would be the best thing to do is some kind of thing like that. But I said, and then if you really wanted to, you could, you know, whoever was the most qualified, if it did come from out of town, you could hire it that way, you know.
I think that the listers have said that there is somebody who would be interested if they could be hired, and a very qualified person.
Right. And I think what's happening is that with these smaller towns is that we're trying to like co-op, and this one person may not just be at the town of Newfane. They may also do, you know, the town of Brattleboro or Townsend or whatever. So it's just more efficient and effective, I think.
Now, this person that the lister said would probably be interested if they were hired. Are they looking for benefits and all that too?
They understand it's part-time right now.
I mean, are they looking for more
Right
money?
now, they understand that it's part-time, but then that change again, Winetta just said.
I mean,
Any
are
other
they
thoughts
looking
about
at
this?
rate? Is it more than what we're paying the other guys, or? And as I say, there's all kinds of stuff with the whole hiring thing, you know. Pretty quick, you hire one guy for a little bit more, and the other guy, you give this one a little bit more, and then you go out, you're looking for two more.
Well, I think it's something that perhaps Doris can explain in further detail to us. But I think we really have to consider this right now, because we don't want to be stuck without listers, that's for sure. And if there's somebody who's interested, that's a good thing. What?
Now's the time to do it for the training.
Yeah, and now is the time to do it for the training while people are still here, the other listers. Anybody else right now?
How many listers do we have right now?
2.
And we need 3?
We have, yeah, but we've had one position that is open again now for the last several months. It's only Doris and Frank.
I guess you'd have to see what that person's what they're really looking for by saying he wants to be hired.
Yeah.
Because right now, I don't think you can really do much about it because it's elected positions. The only thing we're doing right now is, as selectmen, we have to fill that position.
But what do we have to do? Do we have to vote on this? I mean, I'm not familiar. Mike, are you saying that can we just vote on hiring somebody rather than electing somebody at this point when we're in need of somebody as soon as possible?
We are hiring them anyways because they get.
That don't bother me. You should do it.
And I said that, that's there's so many hours a week. That's why I say, I guess we'd have to really see what this person's looking for.
I agree with Mike. We need to find out what they're looking for, and we have questions for Doris, so we should sit down and talk with Doris and go from there.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not feeling comfortable about voting on this tonight.
Right. I think that what I suggested a few minutes ago and what Angela is saying is that I think we're all thinking that we better have Doris talk to us.
Well, I know the selectmen have to fill the position because that's their right, because it's happened after election. We've had them resign. If it comes back onto us, they come in recommendations, and we decide who it, if that's going to be the one we want. We have to do it. But as far as going right out and just hiring people without this whole chatter, I don't think you can, because it got voted down at town meeting that time.
Right.
They wanted to keep it as elected people like it's been for years, But I mean, we tried and it didn't pass.
Right.
Well, I mean, the only thing we can do is, we have to fill that position on what we've got for budgets and this and that and whatever it comes out to. Any more than that is just probably get us in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could lose the two that we have. We could do a lot of things,
Right.
And we got to hear what this guy's looking for. If he's looking for what we got.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that we need to have Doris speak to us and find out some further information. But they really need somebody as soon as possible.
Oh, yeah. No, I know that. Yeah. Yeah.
So should we say that? Can we meet with Doris whenever?
Can I suggest? Is there a possibility of being able to just contract for that one person to be able?
That's what I want. Yeah, I'd like to ask Doris.
Like an independent contractor.
Yeah.
As a service.
That's a good question. That's why we need to talk to Doris about this. What is the feedback?
It's you and Juanetta are too close together.
No, she's just sitting here quietly.
Oh.
If that person's knowledgeable, I think we should look into trying to do a contract with them to assist the program, the procedure,
Yeah.
so that we're not behind.
Okay. Well, I will let Doris know, and Renetta will let Doris know that we need to have more information and suggest what you're saying, part-time contractor, at least. Okay. So now we are up to new business, and there is none. So we're up to correspondence. Is that correct, Renetta?
Yes.
Yes. So this is time to end the official part of the meeting, and we're going to move on to correspondence. We have had letters. We do have letters, and the letters that we have are basically all about requests of passing and accepting that statement tonight, which we did do. So.
It will be in the file.
And those letters will be in the file.
As well as listed on the minutes.
And they're listed on the minutes. Was there one other letter that we got that had nothing to do with them?
Just
from VTrans.
About the bridge.
About the bridge? Where is that?
That was for the Arch Bridge.
Yeah. Oh, here, is this it?
Yep.
Okay. All right, there's one letter of correspondence from the state of Vermont Highway Division Project Delivery Bureau, Structures Design section. And it says, and it's regarding Newfane BF 0106, parentheses 6, Depot Road, parentheses, Bridge 12 over the Rock River. Dear Select Board, VTrans has completed work on the final plans for the above referenced project and has uploaded plans to the project external website located at the link provided for your review and comment. And the link is https:// I don't know if I need to read all this, do I?
What's the www address?
But I would almost recommend give that to Jay, let him go through the link.
Yeah.
They've got a set of plans maybe coming up for this.
They need to have a comment by October 2nd. The advertising date is set for November 4th. The current construction cost estimate is $3,500,747.54.
I did go through this, look at their plans, and it looks like what they had presented a year and a half or so ago. As far as I can tell, everything looked good. And it's been years this has been in the works, and it's finally getting close that it's going out to bid, so it'll be good.
So what do they want us to do, sign it saying that we're in favor of what they've done? I mean, this.
They just want to know if you have any comments on it.
And it looks like they're looking to advertise.
They're putting it out to bid this fall for work starting in the spring.
Oh, okay. That's the advertisement for bidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got a form you have to sign, Marion?
No.
No, I think it's just to see if you had any comments on it.
Oh.
No. The only other thing that we need to do tonight is to have at least 2 more signatures for the letter of intent to participate in the Municipal Roads Grant and Aid Program. And I signed it, and Chris and Mike are in the building, so they can sign it. And
Do you need me to walk over?
No, we just need a quorum.
Okay.
If you want to, you're welcome to, of course. But as long as we have 3 signatures, that's good. So that's it for correspondence. And so David, did you want to say something? We're about to close the meeting.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know how to work this. I tried to ask something earlier, but I don't think it worked through chat. It may be a moot point. I was curious about the lister position. It sounded as if you all left it so that you'd speak to the person who was interested, and if they were interested in the position and it seemed like it worked out well with the town, that they could go ahead and have it without going through an interview process, or like putting it out there to others that it's not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for asking that.
Sure.
We're looking for more information.
No, we're waiting. We have to get more information from the current listers. We have to find out about this person who's interested, what exactly would his requirements be for himself, and if we can work with that.
And then possibly do an interview process.
Yeah.
Have an interview with them.
Okay. As long as I'm just hopeful that if it does go so that it's not an elected position, it can be an hourly job, maybe there's benefits or whatever, that there's some sort of notification that that job is open in that manner. Does that seem like that would be the case?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can put it out there. It's just we were dealing with someone. We were looking for someone as an elected official.
Correct.
So if it's going to go into a job, we would have to put that out to the public.
And
So you would do that. That's what it sounded like it was, maybe it wouldn't happen necessarily that way. I just wanted to make sure that it would, because others of us have a chance.
Our history is that there's not a lot of listers there, you know, or a lot of labor, you know, specific to what we need in this area. So, but by all rights, it would have to be posted,
Great.
Offered in a different way if it's an independent contractor. So
Great.
there might
Thank
be other independent contractors out there that would take it on that way. Yeah.
And David, since you're a resident and if you're interested in the position, which has been advertised, you could submit a resume and you could be appointed if that works with the listers and the board. Okay.
Correct. No, the last time I heard, for the time it was and the pay it just was not something that was feasible for me. But if it changes and there's actually benefits that come with it, et cetera, well, it would definitely be worth looking at again. So that's why I was curious.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I would suggest, David, that you write a quick note to Winetta so she can, or a long letter if you want to. You can write a letter of information and introduction about yourself, and she will pass it on to the listers.
Great. Thank you.
And that would be great. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying good night to everybody. Thank you very much for all of you who participated tonight. I think we had a good meeting with a good turnout. Be safe and be happy. And we're on to pay orders.
And Mike and Chris are good to do pay orders tonight? And you, Marion?
I'm not.
But there's two to do them? Is that okay?
Yeah, there's Chris and Mike can do them. Is that possible?
There's only three, two payroll and one accounts payable. That's small.
There's one. I can do one thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good night, folks.